My name is Sgt Thompson. I'm a tank commander with 3rd Platoon, Fox Company. Recently moved up to tank commander. Been a gunner the last year, so. My father and my mother were both in the Marine Corps. My father's retired Master Sergeant. I spent most of my life moving every 3 to 4 years. I knew that I was ready to find a place called home, and at the same time I knew I wanted to join up and do my part. So the reserve offered me the ability to join up but stay in the same place for possibly the 20 years of service. So they really didn't play a factor into it. When I talked to the recruiter, really didn't have a good idea what the pay and entitlements were, what they were going to be. Just knew that it was something I wanted to do. I was fresh out of high school, didn't have any plans, and I knew that going to boot camp and going through the whole training process was going to make me better in the long term, so it was something I decided to do. Fox Company has a lot of good leadership. The officers and the staff NCOs appointed over us, they're very involved. They do know that we're home 27 other days of the month. They're constantly checking up on us. We have every day we're in contact, making sure everyone's okay. There's no financial issues, family issues, and they're very involved with the personal life to keep track of their Marines. There's an often misconception we hear. We hear it a lot, especially when we train with our counterparts from 2nd Tank Battalion. The reserves, you have a lot of the same training requirements. You still have your annual training classes, your Marine Net classes. The only difference is you're doing them on your own time at the house. They do rely heavily on Marines being able to complete their training requirements on their own time at the house, since we are limited to 3 days of training a month. So a lot of people don't know there's actually laws out there. They're called the USERRA laws, and what it is it's a organization that kind of sets the laws on what your civilian employer can and can't do. A lot of people get the misconception that if they apply for a job or if they join the reserves, that it's going to hinder them in the application process. But the USERRA laws protect the reservists from being targeted for those reasons. By law, they can't force you to use your vacation time to come to drill. It has to be time off. Employers, they are volunteers out there to help with that process. And it is a little troublesome taking time off from work, taking time away from your family 3 days a month. But don't be afraid, the misconceptions out there, but it's really not true. So I have a year left. In the reserves we have a 6-year contract, so I have a year left on my contract. I'm most likely going to re-enlist. I'd like to further my education, possibly. They recently opened up the Master Gunner School to reservists. So after my first year of qualifying as a tank commander, I'd eventually like to go to Master Gunner School and try and perfect my MOS and continue to climb through the ranks.
That's good.
One of the problems we run into with the reserves, when I was in the pool lead program and I had to be interviewed by you do an interview with your first sergeant. That's at the unit. So you go and meet with the first sergeant, and the first sergeant that was here at the time asked me, do I want to be a Marine full-time or do I want to be a Marine part-time? And a lot of people get the misconception that you can go from reserve to active duty. Well, with the drawdown and the way it is now, that's highly unlikely that it's going to happen. So if you don't think you're going to be able to dedicate yourself to doing the time here, make sure you really do your research. Don't just go talk to the recruiters. There's reserve units all around. You can call them up. They'll answer any questions you have. But the biggest thing is, if you're going to do it, follow through with it and, make it the best that it can be.